Everybody's trying to break records. A man says that he'll be on the moon by 1970. One man said that they're going to make cars that'll run by sunlight. Well, those are pretty game predictions. Well, I predicted I'll be the heavyweight champion by the time I'm 21.
I am the greatest.
A global icon outside of the ring, inside the ropes, Muhammad Ali was arguably the greatest boxer of all time. The first man to win the heavyweight title 3 times.
Pop, hooking, jabbing and left hooking, jabbing and left hooking. Yeah, I'm a pretty fighter.
I think he attracted the masses. I think he just wasn't just a fighter. He was a figure, a world figure, and he reached a lot of people.
He was my hero. He was one of those guys that, you know, came for nothing and became something.
He trained hard, and he learned, and he worked. That attitude made him a champion, made him the icon that he is really.
One more time, who's the champ of the world?
Ali in the 1960s stood for the proposition that principles mattered. He was a beacon of hope for oppressed people all over the world.
God is the greatest. So I'm not God, I'm just the greatest in the sport of boxing.
Muhammad Ali transcends boxing. He's a world figure, he's become a symbol, and he's also a great story in another dramatic framework. The rise, the fall, and the rise again.
Having won Olympic light heavyweight gold in 1960, the then Cassius Clay turned professional and, under the guidance of trainer Angelo Dundee, won his first 19 fights as a young heavyweight.
He was great before a fight, he was great in the fight and after the fight. So he had the whole ball of wax.
He's fast for heavyweight, fast hand speed and fast legs. He used his legs very well. And all important was his drive to win.
Clay's 20th fight in February 1964 was for the heavyweight championship of the world against the formidable Sonny Liston, a fighter widely considered to be unbeatable.
The feeling was, by the time Cassius Clay got to Sonny Liston, that he would be annihilated. Liston was a 7-to-1 favorite, and most people thought it wouldn't go more than 2 or 3 rounds.
So I said, how the heck do you want to deal with my kid? My kid, everything is quick, you know. The reflexes were so quick for Liston, that Liston couldn't get to him. See, if Liston hit you with his jab, you were in trouble. He had a tremendous, hard jab. My theory was surround the jab, don't take the jab. So this was the theory of beating Liston. And I knew my kid could do that.
With Liston's power neutralized, Clay's superior skills took center stage. And in one of the greatest upsets in boxing history, Liston retired at the end of the 6th round. At the age of just 22, Clay had won the World Heavyweight Championship.
I shook up the world! I shook up the world! I shook up the world! I want the world to know I'm so great until Sonny Liston was not even a match. I'm the greatest thing that ever lived.
Then, 2 days after the fight, Cassius Clay announced that, yes, he was a member of the Nation of Islam. About a week after that, Elijah Muhammad gave him the name Muhammad Ali, and things were never the same again for Ali or for America.
The following 3 years saw Ali defend his belt 9 times. But when he refused to be drafted into the US Army in 1967, he was seen as a conscientious objector against the Vietnam War and stripped of his title. Ali did not fight again for 3.5 years.
He stood up for the proposition that war is wrong unless you have a very good reason for killing people.
You didn't see him at his peak until 3 years he was out. That would have been it. And, you know, I feel bad about that because I wanted the people to see how dynamic, what a great fighter he is. And he was a great fighter. There's no doubt in my mind. He was the first big man that boxed.
When he did return, Ali suffered his first professional defeat against Joe Frazier. But in October 1974, He fought George Foreman for the World Heavyweight Championship in Zaire, Africa. Foreman had won all of his 40 professional fights, 37 by knockout. The 32-year-old Ali was expected to become number 38.
The thought was not that he wouldn't win, but that he would get killed. Foreman was invincible. He was the man Jack met at the top of the beanstalk. There was no way he was going to win.
If you think I whoop Sonny Liston, you wait till I get George Foreman. He talks too much, he's ugly, he's pretending I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all they're wrong because I'm the champion.
Ali called him the mummy. That's what he fought like. Slow, dragging his foot, trying to get you in the corner to throw one big punch.
Ali had the smarts. He could psychologically control a fight. He could analyze someone's style and how to beat him. And that's what he did with Foreman.
Backed onto the ropes, Ali willingly took huge punishment from Foreman's thunderous blows. It famously became known as the rope-a-dope strategy.
Muhammad had such great agility, such great balance. He was able to balance himself. It was remarkable what he did because I thought he was crazy beyond the ropes. If George Foreman threw a right hand and he missed and hit him with the forearm, he'd went through the rope, the fight would have been over.
He didn't plan it. He just happened to get caught in the corner. He couldn't get out. So he put his hands up there. He said, "Oh, let this guy keep back." Because George, whoa, 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 whoa. And if you hit a heavy bag like that for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, you're going to get tired. And that's what George did, got tired.
By round 8, an exhausted Foreman had punched himself out. Ali, sensing his moment, seized the opportunity and wrote himself into boxing legend.
It's a credit to my guy, he was able to do all these things. And then what happened? George Foreman emptied his tank. There was no gas left, and that's what happened.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all times when I beat Sonny Liston. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all times. Never again defeat me. Never again say that I'm going to be defeated. Never again make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Then you might get me.
In order to cement greatness, in a way, you have to have the great opponent. He had to prove himself. And he had to rely on something more than physical skill to win. And that's what ultimately decided him as the greatest.
And in the ring, he was almost a miracle man. I mean, he would win fights against a Liston and a Foreman that no one gave him a chance.
Over the next 3 years, Ali defended his title 10 more times before suffering a shock defeat against Leon Spinks in February 1978. But just 7 months later, a unanimous points decision brought revenge and a place in the record books forever. The first man to win the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times.
Muhammad Ali's legacy will be as one of the greatest fighters of all time. And more than that, in many respects, as a towering social, political, and even religious figure.
You can see people, it's like the Pope. There's Muhammad Ali. And eyes light up. And people remember he's that big and that important and that famous, but because he means something.
I think his legacy made a lot of people happy. They remember those fights, and they became fight fans. Muhammad created a lot of fight fans, new fight fans.
He has endured because he is Muhammad Ali.